before was that mushroom having the hammer, so that would have led them to the flute eventually, in which case would have gotten their Titan's Mitts from Para there. So I wouldn't say it necessarily hindered Couch in any way, but it did lead him astray for quite a while. And we're off. Red mail is for cowards. You got that, chat? No red mail.
Alright, well, if either our players happen to pick up red mail, we'll have to make sure to call them out for being a coward. So is there a starting weapon you'd like to see for this race here?
Well, being this far into the tournament, I've seen every start. I don't necessarily have a particular one I like other than bombs. I like to see bombs. It allows us to see the general skill level of the runners. Of course, with them being in bracket stage, they're high caliber runners for sure. But we get ourselves a hammer this time around.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think bombs definitely make for the most interesting escape sequence, at least. Hammer as a player is probably something you like to see because that's a lot of early game power. And moving on later when we get to that dark world, the hammer opens up a lot of stuff. So that being a go mode item you don't have to worry about. Basically a free go mode item at the beginning of the game is really nice for routing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a melee weapon, so you can farm bombs all you want. Of course, you're going to lose a little bit of time by doing so. But you don't have to worry about magic or arrows or anything like that.
Yeah, and with the hammer in particular, you'll be one-shotting like everything. So, besides that pesky ball and chain guard. So, killing a bunch of extra enemies for bombs isn't too costly. And as long as you don't have to exterminate every rat in the sewer for them, you'll likely end up at least coming out even if you find the bombs and don't have to come back, save you that trip later.
Yeah, that ended up happening in the last race. Both of them got the bomb drop, but Couch ended up getting it on like the very last rat possible. And of course it was Kane from the Uncle and Fire Rod to start, so they're opting to not switch off the Fire Rod. But we'll see if some bombs decide to show themselves early or not. And onto the ball and chain guard. Now, something that I always find interesting is some people opt to just going for 2 hammer hits. Other people opt to grabbing the pot and doing a quick throw and hammer hit. Both are, I would say, equally as fast, but I find throwing the pot for the first hit is a lot safer. You don't have to worry about getting hit. Yeah,
I agree. So like obviously, when you're doing this in like an NMG style or like Uncle Assured, you have that fighter sword, and you can do like the 8 slashes versus like the pot and 4 slashes. And again, it's like a marginal time difference between the two. But I think, like, at least with the sword, I find it a lot easier to kind of combo the guard without getting hit. With the hammer, just getting even 2 in a row can be a little bit trickier.
Yeah, just the hitbox alone on the hammer is kind of difficult to work with. And there's a bomb drop on Couch's side. Very, very lucky find. So we know that the green guards have a single bomb in their pool, so maybe Solski will hit one here in the hallway. I'll go with a no on that, so... Oh, doesn't get one there. Unfortunate. Alright, so Solski has to get lucky here and hope for a bomb off of a rope, a keys, or a rat. It could show up, could evade him, and we'll see. This lantern cone is always going to be here whether or not they have the lamp in the escape section only, of course. So would be able to route this in later if they don't have the glove, but of course you'd want to hope for the glove.
Yeah, that's the kind of the big concern, and why you want to farm for that bomb early. On that off chance that the glove could be behind that wall, and you'd have to potentially rewalk the entire escape sequence to check it.
Yeah, it's never fun to have to go around the whole thing again. So Solski here is going to put some time into killing rats, and Couch is going to head off for that bombable wall. And Solski ended up finding a bomb drop as well. And my least favorite thing about the hammer is the hitbox heading upwards. Makes it very hard to hit anything. And all the items here are going to be items, because of course they already had the key, they already had the map. Of course you can't get the key this late anyways. So they're going to be opening up that sanctuary chest. But finding that sword early is very nice. And just the red rupee inside Sanctuary. Now, last race, Solski ended up checking the Lumberjack Cave early, whereas Couch ended up going straight for the forest. We'll see if that decides to vary or not this time around. Of course, last race it had the silvers, so neither runner ended up doing Aghanim.
Yeah, there can definitely be, again, like, maybe some slight change of plans on either racer's side based on the last race. The early Lumberjack check is, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a up for personal taste thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, coming back here with boots later is very fast, so it's not bad. It looks like just a red rupee on the Lumberjack Cave. The bush crab ended up having single bombs as well, so Solski ended up taking advantage of that. And we'll get our first look at the forest here from Couch. Of course, he's going to take advantage of this bush crab. It's always nice to end up going through Kakariko with more than enough bombs. Solski skipping that 20 rupees, Couch opting to take it. I mean, when you need a little bit of money for Zora, of course I don't blame taking that early money, but at the same time, it's a little cutscene for 20 bucks. And off to Kakariko we go. Now I expect fully standard routing from both runners here for the early race. Later it'll probably shift a bit. I know Couch goes to Desert for that Agina play, I should say. That's just something I've seen him do quite often in races. It can pay off sometimes, other times not. Oh my. Alright, so we have ourselves an ice rod already. So that won't be something we're searching for.
Definitely a nice change of pace after their last race. The ice rod internal rock. So be able to wipe the sweat off their brow for that one.
Alright, so just like last race, we have 3 crystals in the light world, with a red crystal being on Eastern this time, and normal crystals on Hera and Desert. Just a slight shift from last time, and early flute, early silvers, and some more bombs. Looking very promising already. And we're halfway to our red tunic, so we'll make sure to call them out on being cowards if we need to. I feel that's one of the best locations for finding flute. You're about to pass by the middle of town here, so you can activate it right away.
Yeah, for sure. It's along the way, and any early time finding that flute, particularly like before you leave Kakariko, is really nice. That's definitely going to help out with the early game routing. Makes it a lot easier to check off those far off one-off locations like Agana's Cave and the Ice Rod Cave early on.
The back of the tavern having a bomb upgrade for us, so overall not too much else here inside of Kakariko. I mean, finding the ice rod, the flute, silver arrows, like overall nice finds to have. Blue mail is nice as well. You get a little bit of extra defense having low hearts early game. And of course, having the flute active, you don't really have a need for saving quits early on. You can flute right to 7 after this and do your dam check and everything else. Well, it looks like Solski's going to switch it up this time around, having Agina here available, having that ledge as well for a check done. Flute makes that quite an easy trek over here too. And finds a nice book. So when you have that option of going into desert, of course, your bootless could get boot locked. You're already fire locked out of there. Definitely can agree with head off to other locations first. And looks like we get ourselves a power glove. A very soggy power glove from the dam. And now off to one of the best rooms with the hammer. Of course, having sword will make this a lot easier. So all we need for Dark World access at this point is that pearl. So whenever that decides to show up is when Aghanim is going to be alive, actually, because you won't be killing him if you find it. Looks like Couch is going to flute over to do the check on Ice Rod Cave. And that was a very fast clear of Mini Moldorm Cave for Solski. And just more money inside Ice Rod Cave. So Couch now has the money for the Zora, which is technically in play since having Power Glove. So we'll see if they decide to do a fake flip or not. Of course, you have all your Eastern checks available, so those are also possible. And looks like that is the option here. We'll see if Solski decides to follow suit or go off on a different path. And hiding inside Sahashala's closet is some hearts and money. And very interesting route divergent here from the runner. Solski heading off the desert, whereas Couch is in the eastern lands. See, Couch is fluting away, though. We'll see where they head. Couch is now going to do their Agena play here, find their book. Alright, we'll see if Couch decides to do the desert play here as well, pulling out the book, so it seems to be likely in this case.
Yeah, I don't think the early desert play is a bad call when you're already over here. As you mentioned earlier, you could be boot locked, you could be fire locked. But overall, if you're already taking your time to come over here, you can just walk in real quick, check that first chest, and you know pretty quick. Because if that's not a key, you can just leave.
Right, so they're not boot locked, but if they want a Master Sword, they can come back later with some nice speedy boots. Solski's going to do a nice save and quit here, head off into another location. We'll see if they decide to head off to Eastern or potentially up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, and the knowledge of that on that sword location is always going to be nice.
Yeah, it's not too hard to go back later on as well, say near the end. If you're still only on Fighter Sword or only on a Master Sword, a Tempered could speed things up quite heavily over a Master Sword, so...
Yeah, if they don't happen to find, the other two swords in the seed, and especially if they, get that mirror and can take the back entrance into the desert, it's real quick to pick that up.
And now Couch pulling out the flute. Looks like they're going to be heading out of here shortly, too. Oh no, Solski getting dead rocked while escorting the old man. And just ripping the old man's heart out. Unfortunate. So Couch is going to opt to walking out of desert, whereas Solski ended up doing a save and quit out. And we'll see where Couch decides to go next. I would expect it's going to be the same play here. Head up to the mountain, see what's located up top.
Yeah, it's a real quick check. Unfortunately, without, a mirror or that hook shot, they're not going to be able to check out too many locations up here. Just that sequence break with the old man, see what's on Spectral Rock there, and then see the heart container inside.
Right, so now looking at what is left in play for the runners here, there's a couple items inside of Eastern itself that needs to be checked, and my guess is we're either going to have the lamp in there, or some sort of progression to continue on, say, Death Mountain or something, or maybe our Dark World access.
Yeah, Moon Pearl in Eastern wouldn't surprise me too much at this point. But yeah, it could easily be that hook shot or that mirror. That'll give them access to the east side of Death Mountain.
Right. I mean, it could also be the access to Aghanim that is hiding in there. It's always a possibility.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that when I saw the sword on that torch. If we happen upon the boots and lamp, I could leave Aghanim in play.
Yeah, Couch ended up getting dead rocked as well on the mountain there, so had to wait a little bit. And Solski's going to give us our first look into Eastern here. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the old man was some very bad luck for both of these runners here.
Man, don't blame that poor old man. He's just a nice guy, lost in the cave. It's those darn dead rocks, dude.
Yeah, they're always getting in the way.
Worst enemy in this game. I hate him.
Alright, Couch. Probably gonna head off and do Eastern as well, or is gonna head up to Zora and spend some money. Ooh, a Titan's Mitt inside of Eastern. Not quite the Dark World access we were looking for, but at least when we find Pearl, it'll be all the Dark World access.
And the early Titan's Mitts are generally lead to interesting seeds. And especially if that hammer, those two items unlock so much of the Dark World. So they should have a lot of options once they do find that Moon Pearl.
Alright, looks like just a heart piece on the ledge at Zora, so we'll be coming back for that later on. And we'll have to see if the rest of Eastern here is going to come out viable or not. I would assume so, considering there's not much else to be had elsewhere, unless, say, Zora here has exactly what we need.
Moon Pearl wouldn't surprise me.
How about a fire rod?
That surprises me a little bit more.
Alright, so that's both rods we need for later on. Of course, we don't know if we necessarily need fire rod yet.
I'm gonna say, when a seed gives you both rods and Samaria in the first like 20 minutes or so, Turtle Rock's gonna be a pendant. Might still have to go in there though.
Yeah, I can definitely jump on board with that. So now, Desert is fully completable with having that fire source. So we'll see Couch head back there right away. Solski's going to do some dark rooms here in Eastern and get, hopefully, the last item out of here. Oh, that's twice today for these runners that Mir has been inside of Eastern. Different chests, but still there.
Well, this is interesting. Because technically that is out of sequence right now. But that does open up a large bounty of items on Death Mountain.
Very true. So, the mirror is locked behind the lamp. So, my guess... Oh, here we go, map check. Crystal 6 on Meyer. I saw a green pendant on Skullwoods, which of course we had already. And then I saw a pendant on Pod, as well as pendant on Ice.
Yes, sir. And we will ignore that 3 on Turtle Rock. That was definitely...
definitely not a pendant, or definitely not a crystal.
Yeah,
sorry.
definitely not a crystal. That must have been a graphical glitch. Leave it to Solski to prove me wrong. Like, not even 2 minutes after I make a prediction.
It's the commentator curse. It happens.
Got a nice super bunny from Solski there into the Meyer shed, by the way.
Yeah, not too hard of a glitch to do. Just having to pretty much mash mirror as you're going in the door, I presume.
Yeah, you mirror on like the same frame you enter the door, and that will give you the super bunny characteristics that you'll most typically you don't see that one. You typically see the one that like you'll see in Super Bunny Cave occasionally up on Death Mountain. But it does allow you to check those 2 chests early.
Alright, so now Couch out of magic, having to fight off the last Landmola here. And Solski is going to prepare a fake flipper.
So this is kind of interesting coming off of that last race. Because even you had mentioned, you know, right before this started, that Solski didn't really do sequence breaks at all. Oh!
It's a very nice hook shot.
That is a very nice hook shot. But yeah, last race, Solski was kind of following the logic very closely. Here, not so much.
Yeah, it sequence breaks left and right at this point in time. And going up to Zora here, which I would presume is their next bet. Of course, they have the money for it and everything else, so they'll get their fire rod to get that hook shot now out of desert. So they'll be back on track right away.
Yep, and that does put the East Death Mountain into logic now. Solski obviously does have that access up there through the mirror and hammer, with the mirror being sequence broken. But the intended way up there is with the hook shot that Couch is using.
Right, so we've kind of done a big flop here. Couch is following the logic more closely, and Solski is breaking it. So it's very interesting to see, especially when you come off of a decently close race from last game. Couch is going to opt to doing Spiral Cave first. Not a bad call, considering you'd probably be heading over to Hera later anyways, and without Titan's Mitts, you wouldn't be doing any of the Dark Worlds here.
Yeah, and with the way this is shaping up, it's looking extremely likely that, you know, the Moon Pearl is going to show up on Death Mountain here, which is going to be a great benefit to Solski when he ends up going up there.
That's very true.
Yeah, with those Titan's Mitts, he'll be able to head over into the Dark World, check out the Super Bunny Cave. Hopefully, if he does, you know, Desert first, he'll also be able to clear out all of Flipshot Cave when he goes up there. Which is some stuff that Couch will be guaranteed to have to backtrack for. Well, presuming that, you know, there's something in there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I would expect either the lamp or the pearl up here. Could be both, of course, but it's just my expectations right now with what they have and what they need. But it's definitely rare to see Zora coming into play, considering most times he is the king of ripoffs.
Yeah, it's always nice when it does. Well, actually, I take that back. It's never nice when he does, because you never expect it. At least I don't, and then, you know, it's like an hour and a half in, and I finally check Zora, and I'm like, oh, here were the boots the whole time.
Right. Couch finding themselves the Ether Medallion, the Master Sword, the Mushroom, some more life. So overall, decent Paradox Cave there.
That could be a very convenient sword upgrade. With that book in hand, he'll be able to check the Ether Tablet. And since he's got that upgraded sword, he'll be able to just take whatever it is there, rather than just be able to check what it is.
Yeah, it's very nice to be able to just get the item instead of having to do a check and potentially have to come back later.
Although, realistically, it's probably just going to be a big 20 from the Hylian gods.
Always a possibility. There are a lot of those in the item mix. Alright, Solski now running out of magic, having to do hammer strats on the land molas as well. The gods up above are throwing down love. Couch getting a nice heart container there. And there's the hookshot for Solski, as well as a crystal for themselves. Oh, that is a French vanilla pearl. Getting pearl out of... it's technically part of the basement, I would say, but not full basement.
Yep, that is a good old basement pearl. Things are leading that way, yeah, pretty much vanilla. And again, when Solski comes up here, That's gonna be real nice for him because again he has those Titan's mitts and that hookshot cave, or that hookshot, so he'll be able to just head on over to East Death Mountain and check out Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave.
Right. So the sequence break leading Solski astray a little bit, but at the same time, it helps out having exactly what you need for later. So different routing could always pay off.
Yeah, this could be actually a little interesting mirror of the last race, where Solski was without the Titan's mitts for quite some time, with Couch getting them early. With the Titan's mitts being in Eastern Palace, and now Couch having that Moon Pearl, with a lot of the Dark World open, it's a very good chance he'll be, putting off that Eastern play until he finds that bow.
Right, of course.
So depending on where that bow shows up, that could be potentially a very unfortunate situation to be in.
Well, if it's like last round, I'm saying it's on the green pendant.
That might not actually be that bad then. They would already have access to that green pendant with that fire rod.
Yeah, all it's done is
and then you're right
location.
there.
It just shifted from Thieves Town onto Skull Woods.
I hope that actually happens though. That'd be crazy. 2 back-to-back green pendant bows.
I mean, it's been back-to-back mirrors inside of Eastern. Crazier things have happened. Would just be very interesting to see, of course. Alright, Solski doing the coffee break. Getting to stretch a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite rooms because I enjoy my coffee breaks. It's a good time to, just chug away at some of that coffee. And I do like it in terms of a little bit of time to kind of plan out your next move.
That was quite the extra long coffee break. And Couch now...
Must have been those 2 beers that Solski was talking about that he had. Make a quick bathroom break.
Yeah, very true. Another fetch quest on Couch's side, getting the powder in hand from defeating Moldorm, and another crystal. So having both mushroom and powder, you have flute. I could definitely see Couch handing those in right away, but at the same time, there's other things on the table, so who knows. Looks like Couch is going to attempt Spike Cave, though.
Yeah, I like to do this. If you do this Hera play, and then you have all the stuff to do.
Although I don't think he's got enough health. Oh, he's got
yeah, with the blue cane, you can get through.
I completely forgot that item existed, but they're good. And takes a nice death warp here, and can start the quest in another location.
Yeah, we'll see where he heads. Like you said, I wouldn't be surprised. He's got that flute. Turned into mushroom. It's a quick check. And then he could flute on over to, Kakariko, check that bat, and then head into the Dark World from there.
Yeah, of course. When you get the items you need to access Dark World, I would assume that would lead you astray from Eastern for the time being.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, we already touched on that a little bit, but the Titan's Mitts and the mirror being there, that could be very costly. Because as mentioned, it's probably going to put it off until he finds that bow.
Yeah, very true. And 3 quick hammer hits for Solski. Moldorm goes down, gets the powder, gets another crystal.
And Solski finishing up Hera there and tying up the crystal count there. And he's got those mitts, and he'll be able to head on over and see what's over on Dark Death Mountain, and we'll kind of get a little idea of how big a deal it's going to be that Couch doesn't have those mitts yet.
Right. Solski heading on into the Spike Cave here. Couch heading off for Hype Cave, though, so get your bets in chat now between 1 and 10. Is it hype or not? I think myself, I'll go with like a 3. They have so much open to them at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree. There's, yeah, when you already have like half your inventory, it's gonna be hard to have a super hype cave.
Yeah, only finding a bee in a bottle and a heart container, really not too big. Of course, the sick kid is now in play, so depending what that has, that'll determine whether or not the hype cave is hype or not. And Solski now gonna route in Dark Death Mountain here. First off is Super Bunny Cave for Solski. Couch gonna head off for the Haunted Grove here, as well as a potential digging game. I would expect that to happen due to being in this area already.
Yeah, I know some racers like to do that early hype cave check, just in case. It is 5 items real quick, and then you can kind of mark off these other couple South Dark World area checks as well, and then possibly, you know, save and quit back to Sanctuary and then head to Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, definitely understandable. Of course, when you're poised with different ways of routing it, it's all just dependent on what you would prefer at the end of the day. Solski picks up that mushroom, ether, the master sword, more life, and off they go. And poor Couch doing, I think it was 15 digs for a single green rupee.
Not too bad. Certainly no 1 dig, but could be 30, so...
That's very true. But, of course, Solski will have to do the same thing there whenever they decide to route that in. And the sick kid only having an arrow upgrade, I will rank that hype cave as a 1 out of 10. But now it's time for some fetch quests.
Oh man, I think you gotta give it at least a 1.5, because that bottle came with a B.
True. I mean, it is a bottle, I suppose, as well. I can give it a 2 off that. Potions are nice. And what does the Mad Batter have for us today? Just a piece of heart.
Yeah, none of these fetch quest items really lead into much of anything. Not too terribly surprising with how many options are available to the players right now. I guess now we'll see what Couch decides to do. Obviously, he's going to head into the Dark World from over here. Or I guess he could float over to the other side if he wanted to, but I'm going to assume since he's over here.
Right. So, I mean, when you have access to all of Thieves Town, all of Skull Woods, you got access to it, you can complete it. It is things you can do, so definitely respect this call here on Couch. And now everyone in chat, do you know what Solski is? Solski now has the red mail, and as Uncle said at the start, if you have red mail, you're a coward.
What a coward! Unbelievable.
Yeah, didn't have a choice on it though, so. And I missed that ped check.
You should reset. That's what a true non-coward would do.
Couch finds some couch cash on the pedestal there, so
how fitting.
Not important at all. Ooh, half magic inside of Hookshot Cave. as well as the lamp. So the dark room sequence breaks have now ended.
Yeah, it certainly has. Closes up the sequence break, puts that mirror back into logic. Also to note that Ether was the medallion for Turtle Rock. So we already got that covered. So we're just going to be looking for the Quake for Meyer there.
Right, so now if you're in Solski's position here, do you just finish TR right now?
Oh my god, I hadn't even thought about this. I certainly would.
Yeah, I mean, it saves you coming back here later, and with 5 items being inside, as well as 1 in Mimic Cave, I can definitely jump on board with just finishing it.
Yeah, particularly, yeah, with that mirror, and you can already do Mimic Cave. Because that would be making things a little muddier, if you have to leave that single check deep in here. But yeah, being able to do all of it, he's got a good amount of health with that red mail. He's only got the Master Sword, but he does have double magic in the hammer, obviously, for the Trinex fight, so...
Right. Okay, so now looking at the lamp location, that Eastern Palace play was guaranteed double dive, just to get the mirror out of there. I'm thinking of that wrong. Well, technically, yeah, guaranteed double dive because of the dark rooms, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But of course, if you can do dark rooms, it's not that bad. Of course, you still need the bow and everything else to finish it, but... Yeah, mitts were in the logic, but you wouldn't have the lamp to get the mirror out at the second half.
Yeah, I mean, by logic, with the mitts leading to lamp, it was a double dip by logic. Whether it's a required double dip will yet to be seen. You know, if those mitts are blocking the bow or something, then no matter what, it was going to be a double dip.
Right, exactly. Couch now heading off for Mothula. Solski is going to head on down for Trinex.
Yeah, Couch with the early green pendant play.
Could be a reflection on last race.
Certainly could. Again, mentioned earlier, it could be real easy doing these back-to-backs to kind of let your recent game kind of influence your decisions in this game. But in general, I'm just a huge proponent of the early green pendants if they're like a really nice and short dungeon like Skullwoods or, say, Hera.
Yeah, I mean, Skullwoods, you said it yourself, very fast dungeon to do. You have Fire Rod to do it. So long as you manage your magic decent enough, you'll have a couple shots on Mothula. So it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and then being time will tell how good of a play this is. It's going to be a little bit, probably. I don't know. I think I would preferred, personally, if Couch had done at least Stevestown first, and then if there was nothing in there.
Yeah, that's also true. With having done the southern route already, I can definitely jump on board with doing Thievestown first and then heading north, because you can check other things. Of course, if you had Mirror, that would help out. You could go north afterwards, easier. You can check your bumper cave while you're up there and everything else.
But again, this is a really nice seed in terms of divergence from the racers here.
Yeah, completely opposite dungeons here, I would say. Opposite sides of the map. And very nice fight there from Couch on Mothula. Not getting pinned too much by those spikes.
Only getting that red rupee for his trouble, though. So yeah, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see what the screen pendant is later on.
I'm kind of excited to see what it is, if the green pendant will come into play or not. But as for now, we'll have our Mimic Cave check here on Solski's side.
Another small potential benefit to that actually could be that green pendant in his pocket might push him to check Eastern earlier than he normally would.
That is definitely true. It'll put him in the area. I mean, if you're there handing in green pendant, I don't see why not just go ahead and check the dungeon. I mean, without mirror, you can't route in both pod at the same time, so who knows. Lots of items to be had in that area, though.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, he's going to be checking, Thieves Town, clearing that out first, and Village of Outcasts. So, finding items here could also influence where he decides to go. But that green pendant pushing him over towards the mirror and Titans could end up being beneficial, even if the item from the green pendant itself isn't.
Yeah, very true. But here in the Village of Outcasts, you have a dungeon to do, 4 items to be held inside, everything you could possibly need to finish it as well, so pretty much knock that out of the way and then worry about the future.
Solski with a lamp for the dark Turtle Rock room this time. A little bit easier to make his way through here.
Yeah, definitely a nice turn of events with the last race, neither runner having that lamp. Now, what would make it very interesting is if, say, the bow ended up being on, like, K45 or the Graveyard Ledge or something, because that would technically make it, by logic, a triple dip into Eastern.
That would be some good stuff. I'm a big fan of the more convoluted seeds.
Alright, and off to try next here for Solski. We'll see if they decide to use the Master Sword or Hammer. Hammer, of course, will do a little bit better damage. Oh, and there's the bow for Couch, so I 100% expect Couch to head over to Eastern after this now.
Yeah, for sure. This could actually work out very well in Couch's favor.
Right, Solski is going to use Hammer strats here.
Yeah, the Hammer... I hate the Hammer try next fight.
Yeah.
Just that upward hitbox is so finicky.
Right, and luckily the Fire Rod does deal damage to the Ice Head, so not having to switch to the Hammer for that can just set it on fire and hope for the best.
Yeah, that was a good strategy. The Hammer does make a lot quicker work against the Firehead than the Master Sword does. But especially if that half magic, you can just spam the Fire Rod and throw in some Master Sword swings to finish off the Ice Head.
Right, exactly. And Solski doing a nice final phase there, knocking down Trinex and getting one of the 5-6 crystals. Was it a 5-6? It was a different color.
No, Misery Mire was...
Misery Mire is, yeah.
6.
Correct. It's weird. It was differently colored, so that threw me off. You are correct.
But yeah, Couch making his way through Thieves Town. That bow, as you mentioned, is going to be huge. That's going to push him over there. To the eastern side. He'll be able to turn in that green pendant. We'll see what that is. And then he'll be able to go into Eastern, which will work out great for him. Get that Titan's Mitts, get the mirror, and then he'll be able to take the portal over there if he wants to do any of Pod or not.
Right, exactly. I mean, Pod is a pendant, has 5 items, so could be required. You never know.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he decides to do when he has all of that stuff, because at that point, well, I guess we're only really looking for flippers and that Quake medallion. I guess potentially boots, obviously, if the dreaded big key on Torch and Ganon's Tower happens.
Right. So with that bow being inside Thieves' Town, if you want to think of it in a more broad way, the green pendant was in Thieves' Town last time. So it's technically the same place, right?
Whoa! Dude.
Blow everyone's minds.
This is basically the same scene. I think we gotta call shenanigans on this. Rematch. Hopefully in a potential game 3.
Definitely a possibility here. Of course, if Solski wins this match here, he will move on, whereas if Couch wins, they have to do a third race. So quite a bit along the line here. Makes it really stressful in those back-to-back ones, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Particularly on Couch's side. Because he knows, at least for Solski, he's like, obviously he's playing to win, and he wants to win to clinch that victory and move on to the next stage of brackets. But I mean, worst case scenario for him is if he does lose, you know, they take a couple days off and they already have a potential match to rescheduled in a couple days.
Right, exactly.
Whereas Couch is, you know, fighting for his tourney of life right now.
Right, so Couch finishing off blind there, getting another crystal in their name. So we'll see how quick they head off to Eastern, and it looks like right away. Yeah,
I mean, this feels like a no-brainer to me, personally. And this is starting to look like a really close race right now.
Right. I mean, Solski having to do a double dip into Eastern. Couch gets to do it all in one sweep. So I'd say that's a pretty nice save on Couch's side for avoiding it.
Yeah, for sure. And the early Turtle Rock play for Solski didn't... I mean, it's not a huge deal, realistically, with how kind of straightforward and linear that dungeon tends to be anyway. So even if Couch does get a go mode it later, he's not going to be saving that much time.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
But it didn't pay out for Solski. So it didn't really help him. But it's not really going to hurt him either.
Alright, so for our go mode items, what are we looking for? Quake to enter Mire, the flippers, as well as potential boots?
Yep, that will do it. The interesting thing is for Couch is he doesn't know the medallion requirements yet.
That is very true.
So we'll definitely have to wait and see what he decides to do after Eastern here, when he has those mitts and that mirror in hand.
Alright, he just picked up those very nice oven mitts, so can handle that fire rod that he's had for quite a while now. And Solski finds the cape in the graveyard ledge.
It's gonna be a convenient spot. And, you know, mosey on over and check out that bumper cave.
Just right next door. Very easy. So this will be a fairly fast dungeon for Couch as well, having silvers in hand. So whenever Solski comes back, it'll be the same scenario as well. Alright, Couch finding that burrito. Gonna have to do the dark section here. Of course, not having the lamp in hand, due to that being inside a hookshot cave, which he just gained access to with those mitts. But I feel Couch will be just fine in these dark rooms.
Yeah, for sure. And the first couple dark rooms in Eastern are really not particularly difficult. Just that last one with the Igor holding the key can be a bit tricky. But he can do the nice little fire rod shot to the right, which I believe he actually demonstrated last race, so...
Yeah, exactly. If you remember those torches are there, it is a very, very easy thing to do. You just turn left or right and light a torch, good to go. Of course, having hammer makes it pretty easy to take out those Igors too, even without bow.
And then, interesting, we do have Solski in Skullwoods now as well, making that easy green pendant play.
Right, so that green pendant ended up only leading to a heart container this time around. So we'll see if Solski ends up going all the way, getting the green pendant. I wouldn't see why you wouldn't, since you're already here. Couch now finding that mirror for themselves.
But yeah, again, as I mentioned earlier, we got some nice divergence from the runners in the seed, and now we're kind of converging again in a weird way, because after this, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is obviously just a prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if Couch heads on over to check out Meyer and then does Dark Death Mountain just to get that medallion information on what's required.
Yeah, it'd be an episode of Trading Places at that point.
Yeah, so there's a very decent chance that they're gonna end up doing all the same stuff, just in a slightly different order.
Yeah, no specific order is the correct order, unless it's 100% linear, in which, in this case, it isn't.
So now, thinking about it, where are those flippers? Or I guess possibly Quake? We need one of those, or the other, so we can get into Meyer or Swamp Palace. That pendant pod is looking pretty likely at this point.
Yeah, I would say pendant pod is the dip you're gonna do at this point. Of course, we already know that Dark Death Mountain is a bust, mostly. Of course, you'll have your lamp up there, so it's a nice thing to get. But other than that, looking at what's available, it is definitely pod for the play to make.
Yeah, basically it's... I mean, do we have anything else that we haven't seen from one of these runners?
No.
Yeah, so definitely our progression is there.
Oh, I guess we have K45 available.
That's true. Because of the way Couch routed that South Dark World.
Right, and of course only just got Mirror now, so was unable to get it before. And Solski ended up doing the northern route, so didn't do south yet. We'll be doing it after the Village of Outcasts, I assume.
Okay, and then Twitch chat, it's best to prove me a fool. There actually is a handful of stuff like the Bombos tablet and the whole Smiths area that Solski will have access to if the Titan's Mitts that Couch did not.
That is very true. Very true. Bunch of things that Titan's Mitts and Mirror locks. And Couch himself is now a coward, having the red mail.
Darn cowards. I guess it's better to be a coward and be alive, though, right?
That's true. I mean, you can't necessarily complain about extra defense. Couch now finds half magic here.
Uncle would be so ashamed.
Well, he died.
We're gonna get to the credits, and he's just gonna be face palming.
Unfortunate. Couch's shield now matches his red mail, having the fire shield, as well as finding that lamp inside. So we'll see if Couch decides to do all of TR now with having the items to do it. I would fully expect when you have the ability to complete the dungeon, you might as well get it out of the way at this point in time.
Yeah, it's hard to say no when you've got everything and you're already up here. So yeah, I guess we're kind of just seeing Again, the trading places at this point. Once Solski clears up thieves down here, though.
Yeah, very true. We'll see a little bit of newer things later on.
And that could be a big deciding factor in this race. Well, obviously, it's just wherever these flippers or Quake Medallion end up being, which are going to have to be our next progression at this point. It's kind of whoever comes upon that first is going to be at a distinct advantage.
Right. So Solski now finding that bow. I would assume back to Eastern after this, but could also route in that pod with it. So we'll see if that comes into play or not. And as we are in an episode of Trading Places, I want to ask everyone to hit these runners up with a follow. They are in their second match today, so they are putting on an excellent show for everyone here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Both excellent runners, excellent streamers, and yeah, drop them that follow. They've worked really hard to get here, and they've put on 2 good races back to back. I'd really like to see this go to a game 3 personally.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, I would say it's come down to just the gambling on which route is going to work out more. So we'll see what the outcome of this one is going to be. And I myself would love a match 3.
Yeah, Waterfall Cave hasn't been checked yet. Because Solski did do that early fake flippers, but without the Moon Pearl, you couldn't do, initiate the Water Walk. But we also know Quake could potentially be in there, which would open up the mire, but obviously flippers can't be in there. I don't think it's, at this point, really in either of the runner's interest to do that fake flipper trip. Because given what our runners know, they know one of those 2 items. Once they all finish up with kind of clearing out what the other players have done, they'll know that one of those progression items is around the corner. And since you can't cut out the flippers altogether, there isn't that much point in doing a fake flipper.
Yeah, it's very true. If you're pearlless, pretty much makes you not want to do a fake flipper. It's just something you kind of want to avoid because you only have access to just Zora.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Generally, interestingly enough, it kind of worked out here since Zora did have that fire rod.
Yeah, that's very true.
But that was also a factor. Like, I would say 100% agree with you if you also don't have the power glove. But them having that power glove did put Zora in logic. And so if you want to go make that Zora check,
yeah, it would make it a lot faster.
To do like maybe the fake flipper hobo check on your way.
Right, and a very fantastic fight there on blind for Solski, getting that burrito, getting a crystal. It's a very nice deal blind had going on. You get his food and his gem.
Yeah, and a free joke before the fight.
Oh, dinner and a show.
You just say what you will about blind, but he's just a fantastic host.
Just make blind everyone's best friend.
Alright, so see, well, I don't know. I'm just excited to see what Solski finds down here.
Yeah, of course, having K45, a place that we've not seen yet, you'll be near Bombos, so that'll be a place you can check. You have that whole Smith route, like everything's opened up at this point in time. And of course, with nothing else really being inside Eastern, it makes sense to hold off for now on going there, but we'll be able to head off very soon to do it if they need be.
So obviously he's gonna head down, do the dig game first, since you can't do this with a NPC follower. And this just kind of reminded me that he also didn't check the magic bat or anything yet either.
Very true.
So, all in all things considering, if Couch comes down here and does these checks as well, Solski will save a bit of time there, just in being able to kind of wrap it all up and all together in one nice, neat package.
Couch opening up the safety door. Do not blame them on that, having only Master Sword to fight Trinex here. Of course, you have the hammer to do it as well. Just, it's never fun. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, it's one of my least favorite fights. Again, at least they have half magic at their disposal.
That's
makes
very
it,
true.
It makes it a lot more forgiving. With normal magic, you only get the 8 rod shots, and if you miss like 3 of them or so, you're in a real tough spot to finish them off with the hammer.
Yeah, so Couch activating that safety door as well, just for this laser bridge, I would assume. Very hard to do, especially when you have no magic for your rod.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, gonna be hard to avoid a death there when you don't have the boots and you don't have enough magic for invincibility.
Yeah, it can be hard to slip in there. Alright. Oh, gets a nice full refill there too. Loses a couple hearts, but that's fine. So Solski is going to be doing this purple chest route now. It's mixed in with the Mad Batter.
Yeah, the Breadsmiths only paid him out a blue rupee for his trouble escorting him home. They charged him 10 rupees to forge him a nice shiny blue rupee.
That's a pretty good deal. It's only half a scam.
Better than Zora most of the time.
Right. At most, Zora can give you 200 less than what you paid. Alright, Couch is going to opt to do hammer strats here. Ends up knocking himself back into Trinex a couple times. Hammer, definitely not fun. Oh, barely misses it. Alright, last hit with the hammer on that head. And looks like you're gonna opt into doing full hammer strats here. Takes down the ice head, and now on to the last phase. So K45 only having a heart piece. So there goes our hopes of that being a very hype item.
We still have this purple chest and Bombos tablet.
Very true.
If neither of those end up being these elusive flippers or Quake medallion, this could be great for Couch if he, opts to not do any of this stuff.
That is definitely true. Overall, this hasn't been playing in the favor of Solski. So that now puts Couch a dungeon ahead. Of course, Solski only has to go back and fight the boss, so half a dungeon.
Yeah, the Eastern clear out won't take very long. don't know. Got to see what this Bombos is.
Right, so now Couch has to route in a bunch of mirror locations, and Bombos ends up being just a bomb upgrade.
Alright, so yeah, it's gotta be Pod.
Right. But now that Couch has Mirror, has Titan's Mitt, has a lot of locations to check before heading there. When you're given the option of overworld locations or Pod, what would you do?
I mean, yeah, okay, so if I was in Couch's shoes, I don't know. This is always Pod like I hate Pod, man. I can never make the right call when it comes to Pod.
That's how I am myself.
It screws me up all the time. Like whenever
I never want to go there, but it somehow holds exactly what I need every time.
Whenever I go there early, it's just garbage from front to back. Yeah, and if the mitts in that mirror, I would be probably inclined to do the overworld stuff.
Right. Looks like that is what Couch is doing here. Heading off for that Smith chain, I think. Solski losing the monkey, unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely don't blame him for this, but it's unfortunate given what we know that Pod is pretty much got to be the answer now. And I mean, we'll see what Solski decides to do. Or what he finds there, rather.
Right. Looks like they're gonna mirror and head off to the eastern portion first. And I'll fully expect them to come back and do Pod, of course, with opening up the dungeon there.
Yeah, I just wanted to set up, bring Kiki over here to open it up, and then have that mirror portal ready to go.
And this should be a very fast dungeon for Solski, with having it pretty much done already.
Yeah, he'll make quick work through here, so I think, when all's said and done, Solski will be just a little bit ahead to your entering Pod.
Yeah, I would say it's within a minute, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm talking like seconds different. Couch doesn't have too much left to check here item-wise. There's quite a bit on this route still, but at the same time, it's not that bad. But then again, Eastern is a very fast dungeon, and I can miscalculate times, but...
But even a minute at this point, like, an hour 13 minutes into the race, is a pretty small difference.
Very true. It could all come down to Ganon's Tower, in fact. I've seen a few races that it is double dips in Ganon's Tower due to an item needed to progress being elsewhere. Of course, this time around, you have everything you need, other than, say, boots, of course. Very fast kill for the Armos Knights there on Solski's side.
Yeah, it's it's real satisfying having the silver arrows against those guys.
It was a very clean execution as well.
Yeah, he basically knocked them out before they could even start their little circle dance.
Alright, so at this point we are searching for flippers and Quake.
And at this point, we know one of them has to be in here. Well, I mean, the boots could be in here, or I guess shovel. Like, that would lead directly to one of those items. But something is in Pod.
Very, very true. Hopefully it shows up sooner than later. But then again, if you, opened this next chest here and you found flippers, do you leave now? or do you continue your search for Quake?
I would say leaving is the correct. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's hard to call.
It's hard to say correct. It's just the correct one is whichever one ends up, leading you to the item.
Of course.
It's definitely a hard call to make. But my last tourney match, for the 4-2 Swiss stages that I lost, I full cleared pod with an early bow. That was all that was in there, and I ended up full clearing the rest of it for pendant pod and lost. So obviously that's the wrong thing to do, right?
I mean, a lot of people would be tempted to just leave as soon as you get an item. But at the same time, if you had to come back here later, it would pretty much suck. Couch is routing in the pyramid now.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten. Oh man. You might have forgotten as well, but since we didn't talk about this, I know I did.
True. Yeah, I know Solski checked it, but
yeah, Solski checked this in like he did Catfish,
right.
as well as he grabbed that cape from, the graveyard ledge, because he did all of this stuff with the mirror and Titan's Mitts in hand and stuff already.
Couch is heading for pod right now, skipping out on a couple of overworld locations, heading right on into pod.
Yeah, well, that's probably, obviously, I mean, that's the better call here, given what we know. But that definitely could have been really bad had he decided to tie off those last few locations.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those locations were one-off spots, so heading to pod, which is a lot higher item density, a lot more chances of an item being there. And so far, we've not seen anything yet for Solski. Kiki the monkey has been paid off, Couch is in the dungeon, and there is the flippers for Solski. So one item off go mode. Of course, maybe boots could be used for the Gannis Tower big key, but you never know.
You never know, and that's...
Never mind. We have boots on Solski's side.
Well... It's buy one get one free deal in pod on shoes today.
Very true. Although I think that would look a little weird walking around with a flipper and a boot.
Well, you get a pair. Well, it's not. You don't. What? Come on, man. One each.
One each. Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, Link actually just wears the flippers over the boots. He's not changing footwear every time he jumps in the water.
That's true, I suppose. But wouldn't that negate how fast you can run?
They're magic boots. It's in the lore, dude. Trust me.
All right, I'll trust you. Yeah,
I've
been not too far behind now. Doing this back check first before going to the right hand side.
Actually, yeah. Shoutouts to chat. Link wears boots on his feet and flippers on his hands. It is canon.
Wow.
They are called finger webs in the Japanese
He
version,
didn't know how to doggy paddle. Had to do it the cheaty way. Become a fish.
I mean, it makes sense. That's why you're Zora's treasure. Turns you into a merman.
Just get webbed hands.
I'd like to point out, make a note of, note out that since we were discussing earlier what we'd do if you found the progression, if you'd full clear this dungeon or not, and it looks like both players are opting to do that.
Right, exactly. Ooh, Couch gambling. Couch is out of here. Solski is going to finish Helmsar King, though.
Once again, I make a comment. Instantly proven wrong.
That is how commentary goes. I mean, when you find the two items, I can agree with it, as well as disagree with it. Halmasar has an item, according to Solski, by going and fighting him. So if that item is Quake, then it is detrimental on Couch's side, I would say, to have to come back here.
For sure. Overall, I guess we'll find out the correct choice in just a second here, but I agree with Couch skipping out on Halmasar.
I mean, if this item on Halmasar is nothing, the lead has swapped a bit. And Couch is going to opt to getting that tempered sword here.
Pretty smart remembering that. I think this is worth it. Just on the off chance that they don't find that fourth sword. The tempered sword makes a pretty good difference on not only Ganon, but also the Argus fight coming up. It's pretty helpful.
Yeah, so Halmasar only dropped 300 rupees. So Couch made the proper play here, dipping out, and the lead has shifted into their favor. So now we have a Swamp Palace to go and play with. Looks like Solski's gonna do King's Tome here, as well as, I would assume, Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, no reason not to do one without the other. I was curious to see if either player would opt to check these before doing Swamp Palace.
I can see the reason as to check them. Pretty much avoids having to full clear the dungeon. You can just go mode it.
Yeah, again with the one item, just that Quake Medallion, locking our players out of go mode. If Solski finds that, you can save a ton of time in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I would say Swamp Palace is probably my favorite dungeon to go mode, due to only having to open up one single chest at the start, and then all the rest of your keys are just in skulls along the way.
For sure, like Swamp Palace and Ice Palace are like the two big dungeons that are just great if you can go mode them, versus actually clearing them. Obviously the bonk checks didn't pay out for Solski. The one other, I guess, somewhat beneficial side effect of doing that, though, is that, if he knows... Oh, God, how do I want to put this? Swamp left side is a little more appealing, since he basically only has Swamp Palace left.
Right. I mean, like, when you're in this position, you're in the dungeon looking for that item, I don't feel you'd necessarily want to skip out. Like, if it's one item over there, I don't know if you'd want to even leave. But, yeah. I mean, Couch already made that gamble and dipped out of fighting Halmasar, so you never know. Yeah, you never know. I would be very, very surprised if Couch did leave, even if one item over there, just because of how limited his options are outside of the dungeon. Well, I guess actually there's Ice Palace in play as well. That is very true. So, I mean, 3 items inside Ice. It is a pendant as well. I don't know if you really want to gamble that over a dungeon that you're currently in. Yeah, I'd still be hard-pressed to ever make that decision, and would be surprised by anyone who did. But I was just trying to think of other places that are now open, and there is also that waterfall ferry with the 2 chests. That is very, very true. We'll see if either runner decides to route up that way. Couch finding themselves a Riot Shield here inside Swamp, and Solski now entering the dungeon. Couch opting to go to the backside right away. I mean, I don't blame them on that part. Check the items here, and if it is what you need, then you can leave. And if not, then I guess a left side is going to happen. Yeah, I'm not sure that Solski necessarily forgot the sword that's in Desert. I believe that he does remember. Yeah, I mean, it's not required, so you can do spin slashes for Ganon. It will take a bit of time, but overall, it is a time sink to go and get, depending on how much time you would save with having Tempered over Master Sword is what would make it worth it.
Well, grabbing it, I think he'll grab it before Misery Mire when it comes down to it.
Yeah, very true. I mean, you're in the area already for Mire, so that would make sense.
I mentioned that Tempered is a nice, like, it does help out against Argus versus Master Sword. Since one slash with Tempered Sword will take out the Argus Puffballs, or you can, if you're fancy, and you can do the quick kill with the poke dashing, like hook dashing tech, it makes a big difference. Versus Master Sword, you need either 2 slashes or spin slashes on spin slash to kill the Puffballs. But Solski could also be thinking that, you know, maybe he'll find the remaining sword somewhere along the way while he's searching for Quake, and then never have to go back and grab that desert one.
Yeah, that could be a possibility as well. Of course, there is one sword we don't know about. Couch doing a nice silver arrow there on Argus, getting a nice kill in there. Only getting 20 rupees from it, so I didn't see if we picked up the compass or map yet, though.
We did. Couch picked up both of them. I think it was the waterfall room and then that south room with the 2 chests.
Right.
So we've got 2 items over on that left side. And also the big key we didn't find, so that could be on the left side or it could be locked away in the big chest.
Yeah, so Couch is heading off, going for that left side now. Overall, a very close race in this match, too, between these runners.
Yeah, this is really come down to the Warriors converged like into a very close race. This is either player's match to win right now.
Alright, Solski having to do 2 slashes here on the Puffballs due to only having Master Sword. But it does the trick, so.
Yeah, and it's not too terribly, like, that much slower than the Tempered Sword, which is why I was thinking he might have intentionally skipped that sword, because I do think if he just happens to find upon that remaining sword, time-wise it'd probably about come out in the wash.
Yeah. Solski also getting a nice silver arrow there, finishing off Argus very quickly. So our locations are dwindling ever so slightly. We'll see if we have to do a potential ice dive or not. Solski just double checking the map there, making sure which dungeons are required. Is heading back in, gonna look for that Quake now. Couch now on the left side. I'm gonna access these 2 chests here.
It's also nice that both runners decided to route this the same way.
Leaves it all a mystery for us.
One of them could have decided to route left from the beginning and saved a little bit of time.
Ooh, just rupees here on this left side. So, Swamp is not the answer for our Quake. Where are we off to next?
Okay, so when Solski clears this out, he's pretty much only going to have that Ice Palace and the Waterfall Ferry check. So he'll likely just go check that Waterfall Ferry and then go into Ice Palace if need be.
Right, Couch just floated to 8, pulled out Fire Rod, so I feel Couch is heading right into Ice. Not even going to gamble with some overworld locations.
Nice, this is definitely the best thing that he could do here. Because he didn't check those Bonk Rocks locations or the North Dark World that Solski did earlier. Interesting choice by Couch to dive right into Ice.
Yeah,
As I mentioned, there is that Waterfall Ferry, which is just a quick whirlpool portal
right.
up to
it is
check.
Right beside it too, that portal. So it is a nice check to do. Of course, it would save you from diving Ice, but taking that gamble. And Solski about to find 120 bucks here on the left side of Swamp. And so far, just a compass for Couch here inside of Ice Palace.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for Couch's sake that Quake is going to be an Ice Palace here. So again, it could be at that Pyramid Fairy, and if Solski remembers to go there, that's going to put Couch extremely far behind.
Right, so here's our little bit of divergence. Solski is going to go and check the Waterfall Fairy here, whereas Couch did the instant dive. So we'll know our answer very shortly. Ooh, 20 rupees and an arrow upgrade in the waterfall.
Well, that's very good for Couch. That means Skemble's paying off. It's going to save him a bit more time over Solski here.
Right, Couch also opting not to do the bomb jump, has Samare in hand, and when intending to full clear this dungeon anyways, in order to just get an item out. Understandable there. Don't worry about doing bomb jumps. Yeah,
for sure. It can be nice, even if you are looking for an item, if you still need to kill Cold Stare. Just in case, like, maybe find that item in the next chest. You'd be set up to, you know, rush to Cold Stare. But considering that he doesn't need to finish this dungeon at all, like, once he finds that Quake, he's just going to mirror out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And Solski following in shortly behind here, entering the dungeon. It's a nice big key location there for Ice Palace, the room right above the big chest. We'll see where that Quake decides to show up here. Alright, here's our next chest location. Blue Goo.
Blue Goo is always nice, but definitely not what either of our runners are looking for. And we're starting to get to that point, an hour and a half in, where you really start to get a little concerned that you're not in go mode.
Right, exactly. I mean, you don't know if your opponent decided to do a gamble on a dungeon, so you don't know how far along they are. Of course, for us, it is an insanely close race. But at this point in the time, I think you're gonna sit and worry that you don't know where they are.
Yeah, it can be really hard to gauge, especially, like, for instance, from Couch's point of view, missing those Titan Mitts and that mirror early. And the way that could have affected his routing versus Solski's. Like, he knows, like, well, maybe Solski came in here early, he had those earlier. You know, he was able to be a little more efficient with his clears by doing, you know, some of the things we saw Solski doing with the Thieves Sound straight into the blacksmith and so on. So this kind of, oh, the shovel.
Ooh.
With the red rupee too, so...
That's all the items here inside of Ice. Off we go.
It's gotta be the shovel.
So, Solski's actually skipping a bit of Ice as well by doing that bomb jump there. So, we'll shave off a little bit of time. Alright. Who is ready to cause an earthquake by digging? Nope, just a red boomerang.
Okay,
Where
so...
could it be? What was missed that I'm not thinking of?
Yeah, we must have forgot about something? Oh boy, isn't it exciting, chat? Isn't it exciting when the commentators don't know what's going on either?
Why was I hired for this? Right, so Couch is now going to go do the waterfall cave here. Whilst I sit and ponder everything on where it could possibly be.
Legitimately perplexed.
It was just the Red Rupian Lumberjack. So that's not it. Definitely not Quake. Graveyard Ledge has been done. The Bonk Rocks have been done, I think. I know I saw Kingstone done, but were the Bonk Rocks actually done?
Yeah,
I would expect Solski to route that in.
Solski did both. I think it was like a heart piece or a heart container and then like a red rupee.
Yeah.
You got the cave and you checked Bumper Cave, because that was a bottle, I think.
Yeah, so it wasn't a miscount in Ice Palace items, because it was blue goo, the shovel, and a red rupee. So we had all three out of here. It's not on pedestal, that's just couch cash. I'm very intrigued as to where it is. Very confused as to where it is, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Screw it, I'm just excited to see. Let's see what happens, because I actually don't know. Right. I'm pretty sure Solski checked Catfish.
Was Bumper Ledge actually checked?
Yeah, I thought Solski went over there and checked it after he grabbed the cape from Graveyard Ledge. I want to say it was like a bottle up there.
Oh, did anyone check Lake Hylia Island?
Oh.
That's a place I've not seen myself.
Solski... Did Solski go by it when he fake flippered at the beginning?
I don't remember.
Because if he didn't, then it could be there. Which would be like a kind of hilarious oversight if both of our players overlooked that.
Alright, so Solski is now pondering everything. And...
Hey, Solski is confused as we are. Perfect!
I mean, 100% have no idea where anything is. Where are we going, Solski? Are you going back in? Oh. Solski thinks they miscounted. But they did get 3 items out of here.
Okay, and Couch is... No, it was there. It was Lake Island, what?
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
That is so rare, like that never even crossed my mind because you don't ever see a race an hour and 40 minutes in where neither player made that check.
Right, like normally you would pass by that at least once by this point in time. The island of all places, oh my. Quake Island, it shall now be named.
Yeah, because so early on, Solski did that fake flipper, and he went up and he checked Hobo, and then he hopped back down and took the portal to Zora, which led him to the fire rod. But he didn't do the swing over down to the left that you would typically do to check that item while you're there.
That feels so bad on Solski's side, going into ice again when you're right beside the island, near frames away from doing that.
Oh, I've made a similar mistake before, where I just overlooked a hammer on that island. It's gonna feel... Solski's gonna be kicking himself. In Couch, I'm assuming is freaking out because...
Yeah,
like,
when you find
I said, an hour and 40 minutes in, and you're checking Lake Island for the first time. After
when you dive...
Full clear ice. And,
full clear ice looking for it. And it happens to be just next door. Oh my. I mean, both runners made the same choice there too, so... They have the same mindset on that part.
But again, I would like to just say I could totally see how you would make this mistake.
Alright, and we'll see if we get ourselves the Godmire or not. I classify it as Godmire depending on if the big key is located on the bridge here or in the next room. Both are pretty much equally as fast. Solski is doing the Cold Stare fight here. Of course, when you only have a Master Sword to do it, utilizing as much magic as you can, doing Butter Sword damage with that. So.
Yeah, ideally, you'll still kind of spin slash him up into the corner like you normally would. Throw out some slashes and then try to get some Fire Rod hits on all of them.
Right.
To inflict that Gold Sword damage, as you mentioned. Well, shoot, there's his red pendant.
Pedestal pull, even though we know what it is.
Yeah, it's this. I feel bad. This is like not
right. Oh no!
Not a way you want to lose.
Oh no! Where are we going? Double checking the medallion.
And again, this is like. I feel like what likely happened is he typically would check that like island when he did the fake flipper, and he just didn't this time for some reason. Because I've definitely done that before too. And then you assume, well, I fake flippered the hobo earlier. I must have checked the island, and since I don't remember what it wasn't anything important.
Right, of course.
So
it's a slip of the mind thing. Solski now going to go and pick up that tempered sword here.
So it's likely that he kind of mentally checked off that location in his mind and thinks that he checked it and that it was nothing.
Right, exactly.
Which is a thing that's happened to literally everyone that's played this game. And it just...
I mean, it's also... Bad. They're playing 2 seeds back-to-back here as well. So maybe in the first one, when you swim past that, that's the item in your head.
Yeah, that's a great point. So this is game 2. They played their first race right before this, and doing those back-to-back races. And then, you know, potentially if either of them were practicing a seed beforehand, it's really easy to get all those seeds jumbled up in your head. They kind of all start to blend together after a little bit, you know. Having said that, you know, Couch is a huge lead at this point, with Solski not knowing what he's missed. So assuming, you know, things continue as they are, we will be seeing this go to 1-1, and they will have their tiebreaker on, I think, Thursday.
I'm not sure what the day is, but with a lead at this point, it could all come down to, again, his tower, of course, but depends on how soon Solski decides to head off for Quake Island.
You're not gonna find them under the rocks next to Link's house, Solski. I'm sorry. I know you're desperate.
It's gotta be somewhere, that's for sure.
I don't know. Is he pulling the pedestal?
I am not sure. I 100% feel Solski's pain. I've been in this situation too many times.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, this is, if you've played this randomizer enough, especially like racing it and stuff, this is a mistake that everyone has made. And then you just have this like utter sinking feeling in your stomach as you just kind of feel a little helpless. Because like you start to be like, you know you missed something, but you have no idea what. And like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna literally research every single part of the map until you find what it is.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have a choice on the matter, so... And you're not going to forfeit until your opponent has done anyways, so... As for now, Couch heading off for Vitreous. And then we'll have ourselves a grand old time up in Ganon's Tower. Solski's gonna go pull the ped. Who wants 20 bucks?
There you go, chat. He did that for you. I know he did that for you guys. He knows Twitch chat loves the pedestal. He knows that this isn't it, but he pulled it anyway.
Yeah, had routed it in quite earlier on that ped check, so. And Couch doing nice work here on Vitreous, getting that 0 cycle.
Yeah, I love the Silver Arrow Vitreous fight.
Alright, now here on the Speed Gaming Network, we have ourselves a little game to play. It is called the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game. So you can get your guesses in chat now between 1 and 22 on where you think that big key is going to be. And Solski finding Quake. Oh my.
Ruh-roh.
He did the thing, he found it, he's just gotta go retrieve it now.
You did the thing. Still, I feel, yeah, my heart goes out to him. That's a bad feel. What is your guess for the Ganon's Tower Big Key?
I always tend to go with number 7, but I like a specific number 7. It would end up being in that first group of 4 on the left side. If you were to check the 2 on the right, the torch, and then go left. But, of course, I can only have a number, so I'm going to go with 7. As for yourself there, Swerb?
I will go with... I will also go with a specific chest, but again, a number. I'll go with 8. So that will be the double fire bar room after those 4 chests.
Okay, okay. I like that one.
If, you know, standard routing applies. Standard Ganon rates apply.
Very true. Alright, everyone quickly get your guesses in chat here as we approach the tower. That poor Murderdactyl. Coach pulling out the mirror for some quick strats here in the tower. And off inside we go. Solski's got a mire to do. Of course, the big key did evade us a decent amount. Alright, here we go. Going for the first 2 chests on the right. Pretty standard. Chest number 1, Heart Piece. And chest number 2, Red Rupee. So, my favorite route, heading left. The torch is a small key. That'll be number 3, and off into the Stolfos room. Ooh, a butter sword in chest 4, Bombos in chest 5. Chest 6 having the bug net, and chest 7 having a small key.
Alright, chest 8, here we go, come on.
Alright, so I didn't get to win, unfortunate. So what will be number 8? It's the big key. Oh,
nailed it!
My. Absolutely incredible. Chest number 8. Any supporter of the Speed Gaming Network, if you guessed 8, you are correct.
The closest answer was 7 from Blue Kano.
They trusted me too much.
Should have written mine out in chat. It's never 8 though. I'm surprised.
All right, and up the tower Couch goes.
Couch with a nice casual stroll through that cannonball room.
Yeah, gonna pick up some fairies here with the newly acquired bug net. Oh, eats them both instead. just
the
munches
worst.
down.
And that accidentally happens, but it should hopefully be okay. Definitely better safe than sorry, so I don't blame him for making a quick stop there. He'll obviously have an opportunity to grab some more fairies if he wants to. He does have that powder. And hey, look, there's a fairy.
Alright. So, the gauntlet now for Couch. I would say it's not too difficult, but at the same time, the gauntlet can be very annoying with these conveyors everywhere.
Yeah, particularly in Rando, by the time you get here, you're generally pretty beefy, as you can see with our players here having, 13 heart, or not 13, 17, 16 hearts, red mail, gold sword, silver arrows. It tends not to be particularly difficult, but it's definitely a place you can lose a lot of time if you don't execute very well.
Right.
And if you ever play like a one-hit KO version of the randomizer or the vanilla game, you can see how the gauntlet really is
a very, very unlucky time. Just random BMO shots or a rock here in Landmolas.
But yeah, just fully decked out Couch, making pretty quick work of those Landmolas. Moving on to the second half of the climb here.
A few more rooms between Couch and Aghanim. Solski now heading off to the tower themselves. So.
Yeah, so he's not, actually too far behind, all things considered. Floundering around for a few minutes there, racking his head over that Quake medallion. Just unfortunate kind of oversight in his routing.
Yeah, very true.
Thankfully for him, it'll just lead to the 1-1 tiebreaker.
Right, exactly. So Couch needs to win this to stay alive, and Solski already has a win in the brackets here already for this particular bracket, I should say. So it'll go to a match 3 if Couch picks up the win here.
Yeah, and again, obviously it's randomizer. It's not set in stone just yet. But it would take quite a few snafus at this point.
Someone asking, how do you despawn GT? If you were to walk up the stairs, right after lighting those torches there, if the torches were to go out as you walk up the stairs, everything on this floor that Couch is on now would just despawn. So you wouldn't be able to progress.
Yeah, specifically you basically go up the stairs and you go into that transition at the same time, like the same exact frame that the first torch goes out. And that actually despawns the sprites in all of Ganon's tower.
Right, exactly. And now to play a little bit of math and geography, you gotta line up these shots pretty nice here. Getting 2 singles so far. Three singles. 4 singles. Taking it one at a time.
slow and steady.
Five singles.
I have to hand it to. He's probably getting a little frustrated. But I have to hand it to him for keeping his cool. Ooh.
Yeah, it takes a blue bull on that one, but finishes off Aghanim, off to Ganon. So 5 singles in a row, a miss, and then the final shot. And Solski is now in the gauntlet section, or at least heading off to it. Very close.
Yeah, and then with Couch entering Ganon, he's got that gold sword, he's got the silver arrows. So this should be a even easier, quicker and easier fight than their last race before this. So this should be over fairly quickly. Again, without any snafus.
And super easy. Butter Sword making this a very quick fight.
Yeah. I know it gets mentioned a lot, but the Tempered Sword is enough to get the 1-on-1 cycle here, but the Gold Sword just trivializes it, just 6 slashes each for the first 2 phases. And then, you know, 1 slash for the end of each of these warp phases. To move on to the final phase where 4 quick silver arrows will take them out.
Yeah. So Couch pulling out the bow here. Looks like he's going to go for a quick silver arrow shot before the torches go out. See, Ganon is not being nice today.
The warp trolls. Yeah,
that's
especially
a
with
good location. Double. And should get torch glitch. Oh, barely misses it.
Yeah, especially when you have, you know, the silver arrows. The torch glitch doesn't matter nearly as much.
Yeah, very true. I mean, only had to light the torches once anyways. Ganon goes down on Couch's side. Very, very well executed there on Couch's side. Finishing with an SRTV time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 10 seconds. Couch ties up the race, or ties up the series here, and they will go to a Game 3.
Yeah, that was a very good race. Again, that was an unfortunate situation with the Quake Medallion. Ironic that it happened to both runners. They both kind of had that brain fart there with the Quake on Lake Island, and Couch just remembered a few minutes faster than Solski.
Alright, so let's pull Couch in here and congratulate him on that win. Welcome, Couch. Congrats on the win, tying up the series.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. How do you feel?
Anxiety-ridden.
I mean, I can't blame you. Doing 2 matches back-to-back, losing the first one, going through that second one, getting go mode at like 1 hour 40. Pretty stressful, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, now do you have any, I should say, thoughts on this seed running you guys around quite a lot?
Not really. It's just, I don't even remember much from the seed. I'm so flustered from that first seed.
Yeah, for sure. The double header can be a bit taxing. Were you... Well, actually, okay, so you found the early... Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I'm getting... God, even I'm getting your 2 races mixed up.
Yeah.
So, actually, how did you feel when you found the Titan's Mitts in the mirror in Eastern?
I felt super behind, especially as soon as I found Bow in Thieves Town, and I had done Skullwoods, and I felt probably a good 7-8 minutes behind, and I was just trying to play catch up. I felt in my mind.
Yeah, it was kind of conjecturing that you were likely feeling behind, just because that's Sphere 1 like early location that Solski could have checked very early, and in fact he did.
Oh wow.
He went there much earlier than you, and he ended up going up to Death Mountain and Hera. He found that stuff before getting the Moon Pearl, so he was able to do like Dark Death Mountain and all that stuff in one trip.
Oh wow, nice.
Right. Now, in your search for go mode, you're poised with the option of do some overworld, do Ice Palace. What were you thinking after you found Quake?
I don't know. I kind of made sense because I got flippers pretty late, and I just fluted and went the normal way to Zora. So I didn't think about trying to go back and checking the island. And then after Ice Palace, I fluted to 4, and I was just gonna go to the Dark World and run up to Catfish really quick because I didn't have that checked. And then I was like, "Well, wait a minute, I still have Hobo and the island." And I happened to check the island, and it just, I felt relieved, but also like extremely terrified at the same time.
All right, so Solski ended up just finishing off Ganon now, coming in with an SRTV time of 2 hours and 49 seconds. So we'll see if Solski wants to join us in here as well.
But yeah, Coach, it ended up being a pretty interesting seed because, again, like I said, he did get those Titans bits in that mirror much earlier than you.
Yeah.
But in the end, you guys ended up doing a lot of the same stuff. He ended up doing the early Skullwoods play. Overall, I think the early access to those items helped him be a little bit more efficient. But you guys did kind of the divergence from the beginning and then kind of converged again at the end, just kind of trading places on what you cleared.
Yeah, definitely.
And thankfully, you remembered that island because,
yeah.
Unfortunately for your opponent there, he did an early fake flippered, and I'm assuming he just forgot to check it because that's how he went up and got to Zora.
Oh, nice.
Because he went to Hobo and then slammed down and took the portal to Zora, and he just, again, it's like you're running these two seeds back to back, and it's easy to blend together.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I think he thought he checked it, and then since he didn't remember there being anything there, just kind of mentally checked it off. So there was like a few minutes where he went into Ice Palace, he got the 3 items, he bailed, didn't know what to do at that point because he thought he had been in it everywhere. Went back, killed Cold Stare, panicked for a bit, and then finally remembered to check the island.
Oh.
So Solski says he's going to pass up on the interview, but overall, it was very rough for both of you looking for Quake. That's all I can say. Yeah, somehow both of you not checking that early. I mean, when you get the flippers late, and you don't do a fake flipper to start with, like, you're going to miss that. As well as Solski ended up just missing it when he did his fake flipper, so...
Oh, wow.
Ended up being quite the cookie hunt.
Yeah, and honestly, we were both very confused as well about where Quake was at that point.
Yeah. I was fully expecting that Quake to come out of that shovel. But
yeah, same.
Boomerang.
Yeah.
Red boomerang is not a wavy cookie.
But yeah, it was overall a great race. It would have been interesting if that had not happened to Solski. It would have been extremely close. But thankfully you did pull out the win, tying it up to 1-1. I do believe you have your match rescheduled. I want to say Thursday 8 Eastern, I believe, but feel free to correct me there.
I'm pretty sure that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, that's what the schedule has it listed as. So that'll definitely be an exciting match for everyone to watch. All right, do you have any final thoughts on this seed, Coach?
Not really. I'm just I'm just still trying to go over everything in my head that happened today, so.
All right, then with that being said, I want everyone in chat to hit these runners up with a follow. They put on a fantastic back-to-back viewing for all of you here today. Definitely weighs on their minds a lot. You got to mix up those seeds once in a while. If you want to support us, our links are also in the chat. Our awesome runner cryptics there, or runner, awesome tracker, sorry, I'm mixing up my own words. As well as if you want more rando, there's tons of it going on. Hit up Speed Gaming 1 through 6, as well as ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4. Tons of things going on. As for rando right now, there is a match going on Speed Gaming 3 that's just starting between Frede and C Falcon. And then the rest of the matches are going to be starting tomorrow, one at 9:45 a.m. between CDV and Jigheart on Speed Gaming. I want to thank Swerve for joining me here today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Aether. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely. And once again, thanks to both runners.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.